welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today, after the old day job, I am off to check out the new romantic comedy, The Threesome. The Threesome is directed by Chad Hartigan, and it's starring Zoe Deutsch, Jonah Hauer-King, and Ruby Cruz. It tells a story of three people, two women, one man, who have a great night partying, and then they get a threesome. Well, wouldn't you know it, that threesome causes both of the women to end up pregnant and puts this guy in one sticky situation. This looks like it's going to be fun, and be perfectly honest, I am a guilty pleasure romantic comedy kind of guy. I'm not going to lie, I do enjoy a good romantic comedy. I do not have a heart made of solid lead. I have a heart that likes to feel love and warmth. Woo-doo! But yeah, my guilty pleasure is totally like romantic comedies. Not going to lie, like I have those days where all I want to do is sit down with a big bowl of popcorn and watch some Made in Manhattan. I'm telling the truth here. But you know what? It's enough of me sitting here jabbering on. It is time for me to get out the door, because first I need to get off to the old day job, and then I'm off to check out The Threesome. Oh, that didn't sound good. Welcome back, just getting home from a film that happens to be named The Threesome. Okay guys, let's get this party started. Now normally I do negatives and positives, but I really don't have anything negative to say about this film, so we're just gonna go with mixed and positive to end the video on the ever so important high note. Now mixed feelings wise, I really don't have a lot here, but I will say if you're somebody who watches a lot of romantic comedies and you know the tropes, yes, there are some of those tropes in this film. Now, the movie itself does an excellent job of trying to be a little bit different than your average romantic comedy, but some of those tropes are there. And you know what I'm talking about. These films are almost always the same. Someone meets someone, the two of them have a great romance, then one of the people in the relationship does something stupid, then that person has to do some giant, act of love in order to get the other person to fall back in love with them. That is pretty much the formula for every single romantic comedy known to mankind. And this movie does have some of those tropes, but it does not follow the formula completely that way. This movie is almost a mashup of two different subgenres of film. You have the romantic comedy, and then you also have the indie, whimsy, witty kind of film, all right? The witty indie comedy, let's just put it that way. And both of those are smashed together in this movie, and it does a great 50-50%. If you're a big fan of, I would say like a 2010s witty indie comedy, you're gonna love some of this movie. If you're a fan of a romantic comedy, you're gonna love some of this movie. And it squishes it together. If you cannot stand the tropes in both of these types of subgenres, you're probably not gonna like a whole lot in this film. But then again, you're probably not somebody that likes romantic comedies in the first place. And that's a-okay. Not everybody likes to jam out to the same songs. And then films are the same way. But if you're someone who loves the old tropes, who loves that comfy feeling of watching the blueprints, you might not actually like this movie a whole lot, because it is not a film that follows all of those little tropes around. Some of it's there, some of it's not. Some of that witty little indie comedy is in there, some of it's not. I like the way that the film did this, but I could definitely see how some people, they love their comforting tropes. They gotta have them. They gotta hold them on, and they gotta hold on to them. They gotta have them. And I understand that. It's totally cool. I'm like that with my slashers. If a slasher doesn't hit certain notes, I'm gonna get a little upset with things. But I'm telling you guys, don't let yourself get upset. Sit back and enjoy this movie because in all honesty, this is a really good film and I was very surprised on the emotional roller coaster that this film took me on. So let's just move into those positives, shall we? The first thing I want to talk about is the cast of this film. Now, I don't think that there was any performer that outdid anybody. There wasn't a standout performance in this film because every one of the actors did an excellent job. This is a very good ensemble cast and everyone really does a great job with their characters. These are people that feel very lived in. They feel very real. Everything about this movie does seem like a situation that people can find themselves in. It seems relatable. It doesn't seem awkward or weird, and I liked that. And this cast does an excellent job with their chemistry and charisma to really drive home these characters, because the characters in this film is another thing that really shines in this movie. One of the big tropes of the romantic comedy genre is, of course, the crappy side characters. Your two main focuses of the film are right there in your face, and generally speaking, both of those characters are fairly well-rounded characters. Yes, there's a lot of two-dimensional characters in romantic comedies, but most of those seem to be the sub-characters most of the time. In this film, however, every single person really feels like a real person and are very well developed and well-rounded characters. The cinematography in this film was also very surprising. Going back on that more independent comedy kind of vibe to the film, the filmmakers does a really great job utilizing the camera and doing certain tricks to make it feel like you're right there with these people as the story's going on. I also really enjoyed the color palette of this film. Everything seems kind of muted, like it was filmed on film, and I really appreciated all that. The sound score, the score of this film was also really good. It surprised me. It was very subtle and in the background, and I really enjoyed the way that it really helped enhance the emotions of this film. And it was pretty much just piano music that was playing in the background, but it felt so soothing and relaxing that it really helped with the overall vibe of this movie. And I did talk about how this film kind of mashes different things together. I personally feel like that was an excellent choice in this movie. It does a good job of setting itself aside from other films like it, and it really feels very real, very lived in. The characters seem like people that you could meet on the streets, and that's not something you generally find in a romantic comedy, which really kind of focuses on more of a fairy tale kind of story, when this one is real people dealing with real problems in a not perfect world. And I really enjoyed the fact that they showed the dirtiness and also the niceness of society. All of it was on display in this film. All in all, guys, I would have to say that this was a really excellent movie to get out there and see in theaters to support a film like this. And in all honesty, despite the fact that there's kind of a weird little romance going on here, honestly, this is probably an excellent date movie. I'm not talking about a first date by any means. Your significant other or somebody that you've been dating for a while. I don't know if this is a good one to take a first date to, but to be honest, I think that if you've been in a relationship for a while, this is a great movie to go see together because it really does bring out the warm fuzzies. I was not expecting this movie to affect me the way that it did. It had an excellent emotional core, and I really hope that this film does well in theaters this weekend. This movie's coming out this Friday, so if you have the opportunity, get out there, support this movie in theaters. If you do not have the opportunity to get out, give this movie a stream. Support little movies like this, because like I always say, if we don't support the original awesome ideas, they're just not gonna make them. We're just gonna keep getting MCU movie after MCU movie after MCU movie. Actually, you know what? They've been kind of on a winning streak right lately with their quality. So let's just say Fast and the Furious movie 20. Okay, Fast and the Furious 20 is what we get if we don't support independent film. And I'm not really complaining about that, but I'm also complaining about that. Alright guys, well thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm